Welcome to Haggie Reads For You on Wolf Spirit Radio. Colleen, Haggie, reads children's stories for the wee ones up to the teens. She also reads books for grown-ups. Tune in, kick back, relax, and listen in. You're listening to Wolf Spirit Radio.
Hi everybody, it's Colleen, and today I'd like to pick up where I left off last week with Barbara Threecrow's book, Return of the Sacred Feminine and Teachings of the Grandmothers. This is page 53, Unforgiving, Guilt and Revenge. Without the ability to forgive, we are likely to experience obsessive anger or vengeful thoughts. Obsessing over being wronged by others can cause bitterness. We become implacable and cynical, unyielding and cold-hearted. We may even unnecessarily separate ourselves from loved ones. If we believe that we ourselves are unforgivable, we may be plagued by guilt and might spend a lifetime punishing ourselves for our own mistakes. We might even prevent ourselves from experiencing happiness. A lifetime of guilt and bitterness only leads to illness of the body, mind, and spirit. Having unhealthy expectations of others as well as oneself, or believing that we are unlovable, unforgivable, and that others will either betray us or abandon us, often leads us to fulfill these beliefs. If we are to renew the sacred feminine, it is important to walk the path of the grandmothers, who hold themselves as sacred. The grandmothers knew that if they were unable to forgive, their hearts would harden, their spirit would slowly die. As peacekeepers, they knew that in order to hold the sacred hoop in harmony, how essential it was to recognize all others as sacred. Unconditional love, the power of forgiveness. Unconditional love aligns with the most sacred and divine one. It is the highest vibration humans are capable of achieving through forgiveness. If we are to heal our deepest wounds and generations of harm against us, not only our own spirit, but that which has affected all of humanity, and the spirit within all that exists upon the Mother Earth, we would be wise to recognize the significance of our achieving unconditional love. Unconditional love means different things to each of us, and is an essential key to personal healing. Above all else, unconditional love creates harmony and peace in our world. Forgiveness does not mean that one accepts the harm others may have caused. Forgiveness is a powerful healing tool to be used to free ourselves, to release forever painful experiences that remain stuck within our cellular memory. Forgiveness eliminates the disease of hatred, anger, sorrow, and revenge. As all disease, these have a powerful effect upon the mind, body, and spirit. There are those who may resist the idea of forgiving others who have done them harm. Yet without the ability to forgive, we will not transcend nor gain enlightenment. Instead, we will remain captive to that which only harms ourselves. Forgiveness is also a tool that can be used to heal negative vibrations that have been imprinted upon specific places on the earth, some of which remain for centuries as a sickness upon the land, and which often affect nearby populations in ways that are not always easy to recognize. For instance, in places where war and violence have occurred, there often remains a distinct sense or feeling that something is out of sync, yet something unexplainable. The act of truly forgiving someone is more than just saying that we forgive. It is holding a clear intention of and releasing all feelings of anger and hurt and of revenge that remain stuck within our hearts. To be successful, one must actually experience the sensation of relief and inner peace that forgiveness creates, as well having gratitude to have freed ourselves from physical and spiritual harm. When the act of forgiving someone is spoken out loud, pay attention to any feelings of resistance inside yourself. This indicates that you are unable to free yourself. You may need to explore further the reasons why you would not want to accept the healing that forgiveness brings. Remember, forgiveness is about our own spiritual advancement. To gain enlightenment and advance ourselves spiritually is essential to our part as co-creators and our entering the fifth hoop of peace. Unconditional love of self is a tool that we can use to forgive others, to forgive ourselves any weakness, mistakes, or failings, and this helps us to see ourselves as sacred and continually striving to achieve wholeness. This is a track that may take a lifetime, as we allow ourselves to evolve at the natural pace that has been set in place by the divine plan for each of us. Knowing that we are loved unconditionally by the Sacred One that created each of us is essential. We should not be complacent or without a fierce determination to continue to strive, no matter how long it takes us to learn to love ourselves unconditionally, as well as all others. When we achieve this, we will have healed generations of harm, and by raising our own vibration, we will positively affect the sacred hoop. Chapter 16. The Purpose and Gift of the Sacred Circle. In answer to our fulfilling the prophecy of the return of the sacred feminine, women are once again entering sacred circles. Here they learn the grandmother's ways and begin to heal themselves for the good of the whole. The sacred circle aligns us with the ancestors of early cultures, those who knew the earth as a vital living being and were responsible caretakers of all the earth's natural resources. As it did in ancient times, the circle of women forms a powerful unit, where women join together in ceremony and ritual to become part of a greater determination to bring all things into harmony. Women would have joined together in drum and raise their voices in song. They may dance around the sacred fires and make offerings to the Mother Earth, and consecrate their efforts to implore those of the greater realms to hold their world in balance, to bless their harvests, the hunts, their children, and their people. If those within a circle are of one heart, one mind, the energy sustained becomes a powerful structure, made up of many parts or components which, when linked together, will develop a clear and perpetual vision. Standing side by side in the sacred circle, we become unified in our intentions, generating a powerful vibration that provides ascension of each member's focus. The circle allows us to see into each other's eyes, realizing that we are one, not separate, not one above the other, or better than another, that we stand together as one heart, one mind, where together we can make a difference. The sacred circle links with all circles from the beginning of time, so the circles that are now forming throughout the world are more and more women are answering the call to gather their medicines once again. The gift of spiritual consciousness. 1. Is to learn to quiet the ego, to heal negative programs, and eliminate limited thinking, limited perceptions, and learn to eliminate false judgments. 2. To be in harmony with others, learn compassion and forgiveness, which creates a harmonious vibration throughout the sacred web. 3. To allow a clear channel in order to call in the natural flow of the highest divine vibration, to discern correctly the information received. 4. To open one's heart and allow divine wisdom to enter unimpeded. 5. To expand beyond what we have been trained and programmed to believe is true. 6. To become empowered, finding the true source of our medicines, which are the gifts given to us at birth. 7. To observe and understand the ego, yet to be unattached. 8. To learn the art of forgiveness, beginning by forgiving ourselves. 9. To realize the power that being in one's center creates and its effect in the world. To realize that we are one with everything. 10. To practice the art of unconditional love and self-cherishing, and to heal negative programs which rule us. 11. To realize the significance and energetic force of spiritual consciousness as one heart, one mind, that which harmonizes the sacred web. And 12. To understand vibrational energy as a power that is induced by our intentions, our emotions, our thoughts, and each act, and their effect upon our personal environment and upon the world. Discerning one's truth, reviewing and practicing the 12 steps above, will help to clarify one's personal truth, which empowers us to gather our medicines and to meet life's challenges. what we seek is already seeking us. Yet, we are our own worst enemy. Fear and doubt, impatience, personal agenda, and expectations of others, these become a powerful block against our aligning with divine guidance. In order to allow, we must let go. In order to let go, we must trust. The art of oneness, developing spiritual consciousness. Developing spiritual consciousness is a daily practice of expanding one's physical and mental faculties. It is training ourselves to open each of our natural sensory abilities to expand beyond limited beliefs, particularly those beliefs which have prohibited us from gaining fundamental knowledge of the existence of a living spirit in all things, of the sacred web and life's connectedness through the web, and the power we each have to make a difference. It is realizing our responsibility as co-creators, to raise our awareness of the significant part we play. It is learning to observe ourselves and our behavior toward others, and the consequences our actions have upon the sacred web, and to become acutely aware of the impact each of our footsteps, as well as our presence, has upon the earth. Spiritual consciousness gives us the ability to change our lives, to harmonize ourselves so that we may become one with the Great Spirit and Earth's vital energy, to positively influence the sacred web. We must become aware of any resistance, and that which would prevent our developing a conscious awareness of Spirit's presence, and of our ability to become one with those of the spiritual realm as a source of communication. Developing a relationship with those of the spiritual realm and all living beings through the art of becoming one is significant to our gaining enlightenment. By our having gratitude for all that the Mother Earth offers, and also for those beings which appear as guides, to be conscious of each of our actions, every thought, and that which has the potential to powerfully affect the sacred web, is to be a spiritually conscious human. Either we purposefully choose to create an intention to manifest peace, love, and healing, or choose instead to be unfocused, troubled, overcome by fear and hopelessness. The art of becoming one is to be fully engaged with and to deepen our relationship through each of our sensing abilities with those of the spiritual realm, the earth beneath our feet, the plant nations, and the creatures that appear to us, to be consciously aware when walking and moving about of the impact that our physical and emotional state has upon the environment, to practice heightening our awareness by observing our breathing, become deeply and fully absorbed with the sweet scent of flowers or the pungent odor of the surrounding woodlands. Practice using your eyes more effectively by holding your gaze for longer periods of time upon specific objects in nature. For instance, we have been taught that the color of leaves are green. Yet while observing a forest of trees in the distance, you will notice myriad variations of the color green. If you are patient enough, you might gain the ability to observe the vital essence of each leaf, the tree itself appearing as that of a shimmering life force. Engaging your surroundings through an inner awareness that moves you beyond what your eyes are actually seeing is becoming one with all that surrounds you. Open your ears and listen to the sounds of nature, becoming fully and completely as one with each sound. Being alert to the wind whispering through the trees, the sunlight filtering through the leaves, develops spiritual consciousness. When seeking communication with the spirit of a sacred tool, concentrate upon your intention. Become one with the item you hold by allowing the weight and texture and the vital living energy to be absorbed into your hands. Ask yourself, what is the manner in which you choose to daily align with a higher vibration or divine source? Through a daily practice of ritual, meditation and prayer, by being alert to one's surrounding and intentionally aligning oneself with every nuance, each sensation that emanates from nature, this will heighten spiritual consciousness, creating a sense of inner peace. If this be drumming, or spending time in nature, or sitting in the sacred circle, each of these is a practice that develops awareness and allows us the art of becoming one. Realizing these higher goals enables us to achieve fulfillment and become empowered to live our lives in harmony and peace. The still point. The passage to peace. The prophecies tell us that chaos will escalate throughout the world. Not only will this subject each of us to ever-increasing negative vibrations, but it will bring about our own inner chaos. The law of the universe states that within chaos exists stillness. Therefore, we can choose to either allow the chaos to overtake us or choose to become a still point. The still point is achieved through the practice of becoming one with and aligning ourselves with the flow of divine light, where we experience a state of calm and inner peace, and where we are able to withstand the onslaught of chaos. Checking on our vibration daily can help determine if we are aligned with chaos or inner peace. Our thoughts, actions, and emotions create a powerful vibration throughout the web that pulses outward from our very core, and which affects all living beings and the earth itself, and on into the universe. What goes out comes round. What we expel, we in turn will receive, and also become. Choosing to live life as a spiritually conscious human, and holding oneself within the divine flow of light and love, is the most effective way to become the still point. Peace, healing, and harmony are part of creation, and each of these, along with negativity, fear, and doubt, are constant energetic vibrations that exist within the realm of all possibilities. We need only to determine which it is that we desire to align ourselves with, and begin our practice of becoming the still point. Each of us, through the gift of free will, can choose either a life of compassion and forgiveness and peace, or fear and hatred. There exists a great and unknown force that is formed by our intention, which influences and even changes objects of mass. We each have superior mental powers to create a passage to peace by choosing to align with the highest divine vibration. Peace already exists as a component of creation. Therefore, it is up to each of us to realize that acting as co-creators, we can determine ourselves to become one with that which already exists. We will be powerless if we believe we are. In unity there is power, and it is through the power of like minds that we draw strength, which allows us to create change. We must recognize that we are not alone, that throughout the world like-minded people are holding themselves as a still point, aligned with the highest vibration of love and peace. Methods of seeing. Spiritual viewing. The practice of self-induced trance, through drumming, meditation, and ritual, are shamanic methods which bring us into right relation to the intuitive self. These heighten each of our sensory abilities to better manifest communication with a spiritual source. Being in the flow of a channel, where we realize clarity and guidance, assists us in the art of spiritual viewing. This allows us communication with spirit. All living creatures, and those spirits of the plants and others unseen, which reside within our world. We can become a conduit, a channel, by aligning ourselves with our higher source. This not only has a positive effect upon our well-being, but also empowers us to successfully move through the escalating earth changes. To achieve the gift of spiritual viewing, one must be open to all possibilities, and surrender fear and doubt regarding the supernatural and the mysteries that surround us. Spiritual viewing, along with the tools of manifestation, can be used to heal, to gain empowerment, to realize goals, and even achieve peace. A daily practice to gain communion with Spirit requires patience and consistency. Spiritual viewing. Self-development through psychic techniques. An inner knowing that beyond doubt that what you sense is truth. It is crucial, in order to fulfill the prophecy of the return of the sacred feminine, that we re-educate ourselves in regard to the ancient ways and natural gifts given us. Spiritual development empowers us to achieve the necessary changes in our world. Those of the spiritual realm have been patiently waiting for our awakening. It is up to each of us to begin our relationship with those sacred beings who will guide us to achieve our original promise. One might begin to develop their natural psychic gifts by participating in sacred ceremony or the daily practice of ritual or meditation. Upon birth, Each of us was given the ability to commune with nature spirits and those guides who were assigned to us, as well as all benevolent beings. The importance of our reconnecting and developing our psychic gifts, such as self-healing techniques, visualizing, shamanic journeying and manifestation, the art of luring and connecting to spiritual guides, cannot be emphasized enough. Spiritual viewing is developed through frequent practice of silence, spending time in nature, creating ritual, taking part in ceremony, and one's intention to live as a spiritually conscious human. We must understand the implication and power that having a clear intention is essential to one's success in developing these tools. Here is where the seeker realizes their untapped capacity in the use of shamanic tools and holds no doubt of their ability to achieve the desired goal, which is to become aligned with the magical realm, to become a channel, and to call upon all sacred beings for assistance. Emphasis is placed on one's complete understanding of the potential power of thought, action, and words. Also the importance of never allowing negativity or fear to enter or dissuade them. When one understands the significance and use of sacred modalities as the practice of living one's life in balance and harmony, and of the importance of reverence, of their taking steps toward their own personal healing, they are able to then successfully bring about harmonious change and heal centuries of disregard for the sacred feminine. Indigenous cultures had great respect and reverence for all of life and lived as spiritually conscious humans. They daily performed a sacred ceremony and ritual, knowing without doubt that their prayers would create harmony and balance as positive, energetic vibrations. Their practice clearly alerted all spiritual beings of their good intentions to deepen their relationship. They and the generations that followed held a direct link to the ancient grandmother's ways, where psychic ability and spiritual contact developed easily for those who practiced on a daily basis. There was never any doubt that a spirit existed in all things. They understood the law of cause and effect and the importance of maintaining daily spiritual contact through prayer and ceremony. Most importantly, they realized the seriousness that neglect of their sacred ways would create, not only for them, but for future generations. The most devastating impact occurred when the indigenous people were conquered and no longer able to continue their spiritual practice and sacred ceremonies as they had for centuries. Through spiritual guidance, they had been led to certain places on the earth known to be sacred. They knew that ceremony and prayers of gratitude in the form of offerings to the Mother Earth was crucial. Knowing this to be essential to maintaining the harmony of the sacred hoop, they passed this information through generations. Over time, the pressure upon indigenous societies brought about by Christian beliefs resulted in the absence of communion with the spirits of sacred places. This absence finally caused the spirits to withdraw. humans' ability for spiritual viewing waned. Their ability to communicate with spirit lessened. Separation from the earthways, along with the disrespect of the earth and all creatures, accelerated. Following this, many generations experienced various degrees of loss and emptiness, as society dictated other ways of fulfillment. These new ways brought about greed and arrogance and insensitivity toward the earth's natural resources. The demise of the earthways occurred over centuries due to the separation that was fueled by Christianity, whose teachings made claim to their own God, and whose leaders had alleged indigenous spiritual practice to be heathen. This led to increasing fear, violence, and war against those whose beliefs may have been different. The negative impact upon human spirituality and their deeply felt connection to the Mother Earth, the creatures, the waters, her forests, and the lack of care for all living things created a devastating assault upon the sacred hoop. Chapter 17. Seeking Divine Guidance. Intuition, or sixth sense, is inherent in all humans and is an integral tool used to deepen our relationship with the spiritual realm. We each have the ability to communicate with a higher source of knowledge and to receive channeled guidance and clarity in all matters. As co-creators, we can determine our world as we envision it, through the practice of holding a clear intention to seek only that which is of the highest good. To begin, find a comfortable position, and using deep breathing methods, bring yourself into a meditative state, void of physical awareness. This we call centering oneself. Maintain consciousness, neither sleeping nor being fully awake, which describes the hypnagogic state. Here, one is allowed access to the entranceway between the veils and opens the channel to receive guidance. As we enter into the mysterious void, we then become the silent seeker. Keeping your eyes closed, continue breathing into deeper relaxation. Allow yourself to approach sleep. With an acute awareness, observe the developing space before you. At this juncture, you might pose a specific question or hold an intention of receiving guidance. You might visualize yourself in a small boat, moving through fog or mist, floating within a great universe towards something in the distance that you know exists but cannot yet see. Faces might appear, or colors, patterns, or designs. These I refer to as sacred geometry. In this state, while continuing to hold your intention, you may receive answers and guidance to specific questions. We can also receive answers during dream time by first posing a question and holding our intention while drifting off to sleep. Often, the simple practice of meditation will create an out-of-body experience where we may be transported into the great mystery. Divine Light. Using divine light as a tool, Visualize yourself surrounded by white light. This method can be used specifically before beginning any hands-on healing for the purpose of protection and sustaining harmony and balance. Your clear intention regarding the protection and power of white light will send a strong message of your willingness to become one with the spiritual realm. We can create healing on the earth by envisioning the earth surrounded by a shield of light. This can also be used to protect others whom we may be concerned for. I often envision the crystal portal described in my book, Mending the Hoop, for the purpose of aligning myself with divine light. The crystal portal was where I met Makaina, grandmother, who guided me to begin my journey to Green Grass, South Dakota. Returning to the crystal portal, I envision myself or others engulfed with her loving light. Following this, I immediately experience peace and reassurance. Opening oneself to receive divine light, concentrate on your crown chakra. Visualize your crown opening to receive the flow of love and light, and that which emanates from the divine source. Visualize yourself as an empty vessel, ready to receive, to be completely filled with light. As you inhale, visualize the light becoming brighter and stronger. With each release of your breath, use your intention to send light outward from your heart chakra. This then becomes a source of powerful healing. This method has positive effect upon your personal environment, which is your home, your family, and your pets, and the surrounding environment. The next step is to expand the light that has filled your heart out into the world. Begin to manifest peace in the hearts and minds of all of humanity. You can use this method to direct the power of love and healing light to include places that are at war, or where hunger and disease are prevalent. You might include forests that are being clear-cut, the oceans, streams, and lakes, and those creatures that reside there. Include all land creatures and winged ones, children of every race, and those who suffer violence and hatred. Specifically, those who perpetrate violence and greed. Especially include those who may have done harm to you. Success in using shamanic methods or psychic abilities is achieved by disassociating ourselves from physicality and ego. These shamanic methods are powerful tools used to heighten our awareness, our sixth sense, and natural abilities. This allows us spiritual viewing, an entrance into the parallel realms, and empowers us in the art of manifesting and creating our reality. Specifically, they enable us to link with those elemental beings of higher knowledge. Many recall past lives where humans functioned on higher vibrational levels, where When using one's natural gifts of telepathic communication, self-healing and color as healing tools were crucial for maintaining harmony and balance. Shamanism and seeking communication with the Great Spirit and benevolent beings by praying for guidance or seeking a vision is still practiced today in most indigenous cultures throughout the world. There have been numerous accounts throughout history of the existence of extraterrestrials, angelic visitation, and communication with spirits. Today, practicing shamans regularly visit the supernatural realm and mystical world. Still, regardless of the profundity of these experiences, each are claimed to be impossible, even non-existent by the scientific world. And according to Christian teachings, even in this day and age, these are considered to be a practice of witchcraft and devilry. As in early civilizations, there are those who maintain their beliefs and continued practices associated with goddess cultures, and those of indigenous cultures as essential to sustaining their spiritual practice without being ruled by shame and fear. Before the advent of technology, humans lived close to the earth and were better able to receive guidance and teaching from spirit guides. Today, it is the world of technology that prevents our ability to develop a greater awareness and to receive spiritual guidance. By shutting off our TV and spending time in nature, and through daily practice of meditation, prayer, and living life in gratitude, we can develop our original gifts once again. Pyramid meditation. Sit quietly. Begin to breathe deeply and relax. Visualize yourself sitting inside a pyramid, as shown in the picture below. See yourself with outstretched arms, lifting them toward the uppermost part of the pyramid. As you repeat the words, Creator of all things possible, envision a source of light flowing downward from a point of the pyramid above. Allow the light, which is a divine source, for all that you wish to manifest, to flow in through your crown. Visualize this light filling you completely. Continue praying and invoke healing, inner peace, joy, love, and abundance. While continuing to pray, slowly bring your hands together, placing your left hand over your heart, the right hand coming to rest over the left, as though you were gathering into your heart all that you seek. Example: lift your hands up, and while speaking these words, Creator of all things possible, simultaneously, slowly draw your hands toward your heart, continuing with, I open my heart to receive all of your goodness. Now, place your left hand first, then your right hand over your heart. Continue your prayer by raising your hands again, and with each invocation, repeat that which you desire to create in your life. Example: Creator of all things possible, I open my heart to receive love, health, and joy. Again, place your hands over your heart. This prayer manifestation is to be used for that which is in alignment with the divine and greater good. Chapter 18. A message from the One. The truth about NDE. After Dr. Raymond Moody's book, Life After Life, was published in 1975, there was an increase in scientific studies of the phenomenon of near-death experience, or NDE. Results indicated that millions of people from all walks of life maintained that after having been diagnosed as clinically dead, they had been transported into a brighter light. Some claimed to have seen their dead loved ones and experienced the voice of God. Yet the scientific world believed these experiences to be hallucinations. Nevertheless, according to some theorists, there are specific elements of the near-death experience, NDE, that can only be explained as a verification of the existence of an afterlife. The scientific claim that an NDE is due to psychological or physiological causes does not completely explain how the consciousness survives bodily death and functions independently of brain activity. An NDE refers to one's experience with impending death and encompasses multiple sensations that range from levitation, detachment from the physical self, and experiencing unequivocal love from the divine source, such as God. According to the Gallup poll, 8 million Americans claim to have had a near-death experience. There are clinical circumstances that are thought to lead to an NDE that include cardiac arrest, shock, coma, near drowning, and being struck by lightning, to name a few. These are some characteristics of an NDE, life-changing, often compelling one to study spiritual healing modalities, such as laying on of hands, and increased in extrasensory and psychic abilities, and awareness of entering other realms, or dimensions of time and space, a review of one's life and relationships, encounters with beings such as angels, and rapid propulsion through a tunnel, where ultimately they merge within a brilliant light to meet a loving God. It is explained that a core near-death experience encompasses a sense of profound peace, joy, and harmony, where one's sense of being lovingly embraced is indescribable, but might possibly be described as holy or angelic, or an ecstatic experience. My own NDE was unusual, in that I was not determined clinically dead, nor was I in a coma, or nearly drowned, and I certainly had not been struck by lightning. In fact, I was driving my car and on my way home with my 2 small sons. Yet I found myself suddenly and unexpectedly detached from my physical body, and immediately enveloped in a bright light. I refer to my experience as a non-traumatic NDE. I recall reading in Dr. Raymond Moody's book an account similar to my own, where a man was to have a simple operation, and the night before the operation he experienced a non-traumatic NDE. Upon my entering the light, The field of vision was so brilliant that I was unable to see my surroundings. Yet I become aware of a presence that I can only describe as emanating a profound peace and indescribable love, like no other that I had ever imagined possible. I became then divine love itself. Then the presence spoke to me telepathically, saying, "This is what happens upon death." I felt an acute sense of joy, although I had no perception of my physical self, and when I realized I was being sent back, I was overcome with a profound sadness, and found myself resisting. When I saw the car I was driving below me, I attempted to remain in the grace of the light. Again the loving presence spoke, saying that I was not to resist, that I must go back. As my conscious self approached my body, I again heard this presence speak the words, "No matter what, everything will be all right." I entered into my body, which had somehow continued driving, and as I pulled into the driveway, my son scrambled out of the car, unaware of what had just occurred. I sat still for a few moments, attempting to comprehend what had actually happened. Although I believed that I experienced God, I chose to keep this to myself, and for many years I told no one. The NDE that I experienced occurred in 1970. 5 years later I discovered the book, Life After Life. Dr. Raymond Moody's book contained the hundreds of stories of people throughout the world who described their near-death experience. I had no idea how this profound journey into the light would affect my future. Yet my life began to change, and I found my spiritual relationship deepening. Whenever I felt lost or overwhelmed, I reflect upon the time and realize the truth of what I was told, and that no matter what, everything will be all right. For I know that when the time comes, we return to the light. Near-death experiences have had a profound impact on the lives of millions of people. Whether or not they are hallucinatory seems irrelevant, for it is the message that is meaningful, that describes life as pervading, as is an existing, omnipresent being. Reflecting upon the NDE, I have come to describe this profound experience as being embraced and cradled within the divine womb, of realizing ourselves as innocent seeds of the Creator, sacred and ignorant of hate, despair, and greed. In that very moment of containment within the divine light is the memory and reminder that we are a seed which the Creator casts out of the divine womb upon the earth, where we begin our journey, hopefully to take root, to grow and bloom into the sacred being of our true origin. Chapter 19. Developing Psychic Ability. Clairsentience is one way we receive information or contact the spiritual source. A clairsentient might be described as one who experiences an intense or concentrated sensation within their own body. Chapter 19. Developing Psychic Ability. Clairsentient is one way we receive information or contact the spiritual source. A clairsentient might be described as one who experiences an intense or concentrated sensation within their own body, or an illness, physical block, or stuck energy that originates from another person. An energetic or distinct sensation outside oneself may indicate a presence, and is often experienced by a clairsentient or a clairvoyant. These could appear as chills, or goosebumps, or lightheadedness. Spiritual entities often are felt as a well-defined sensation, or pressure, or tangible energy around us, or by our receiving clear images. We might experience heightened awareness or sensitivity in our hands, where the hands heat up or begin to vibrate. Or we may experience a sensation in the solar plexus, or the third eye, which allows us a mental impression or ability to perceive clearly. Signs that indicate one is a clairsentient can be realized when another's pain or discomfort are transposed upon our own body, or we receive feelings that are not necessarily ours. Receiving others' thoughts or feelings requires discernment. It is important that we determine if what we felt or information received is in fact being transported by others, and you, at that moment, are acting as the receiver. To develop clairsentient or psychic abilities, sit facing a friend and pay attention to all feelings. Be alert to any thoughts and specific energetic sensations in your body. View the person in front of you through half-closed eyes. Be alert to areas in your partner's body that may be darker or lighter in color, or seemingly out of balance. By describing to your partner what you're feeling or any messages received, you can determine if you are picking up or observing from them what they are feeling or thinking. Normally we are sensitive to others' feelings and emotions, yet may not realize the degree to which we are affected by them. In some cases, a parent, most often the mother, is naturally tuned to her child, even if the child is not physically present. A mother is capable of knowing when her child is in trouble. Sometimes those who experience a close loving relationship are capable of knowing when their loved one is under stress. These signs show us the intuitive capabilities that we have, yet are often unknown to us. Therefore, this important capability is unused. Experiencing others' feelings and emotions is part of our makeup. We might then also realize that we are sensitive to all of life, as well as the Earth's vibrations. Logically, we could then surmise that each of these, in turn, would be sensitive to us. When viewing a person who is healthy and in harmony, one should immediately experience a sense of balance and peace. You might observe an aura field that is pure or light in color. These should not be any experience or sensation of resistance. Choosing to use one's psychic abilities to contact others or influence healing can be powerful. It can also be an invasion of someone's privacy. It is therefore respectful and important, when sending healing vibrations or contacting others, when energetically working with another person while using visualization methods and attempting to surround them with a loving light, you may sometimes experience resistance. This might be a signal to advance your vision by using a different method. Or you might discern if, in fact, the resistance is something you need to heed. Perhaps the message here could be that a person is unwilling to receive. Advanced methods and the aura. While repeating the visualization, direct yourself as linked with and in alignment with the source of a divine light. Focus upon a beam of light emanating from this source, powerful enough to penetrate that which is in disharmony, resistance, or stuck. With resistance, success in healing occurs through one's having a clear intention of what it is they wish to achieve, as well as having knowledge that the divine light is all-powerful. When sitting before a partner, look through the aura surrounding them, and take notice of any colors or heightened sensations or information received. The aura is the force that surrounds each of us. Even trees, animals, and plants, and the earth itself have an aura or an energy field. For those who have unusual psychic ability and are knowledgeable in the use of this gift, viewing the aura comes easily or naturally. Everyone is born with psychic ability, yet these gifts are not always believed or viewed as positive by everyone. As in the past, in today's society, there are those who are fearful of anything related to the paranormal. While attending a Sundance ceremony, I noticed how the aura of the surrounding trees was synchronized with the sun dancers. Each time they lifted their eagle feathers in prayer, I noticed how the aura of the trees expanded. This clearly showed me how humans can effectively raise the vibration and positively affect all of nature. One can achieve viewing the aura by not looking directly at a person, but by squinting and holding their gaze slightly to one side of the person's head or shoulder, or by placing them against a light-colored wall and dimming the lights. I refer to this as the aura wall. When viewing in this manner, there should be a clear, even coloration surrounding a person, perhaps at first appearing a pale blue-gray or light green. The energy should be harmonious with no breaks in the field. Stay alert to any visual or audio information that will alert you to any sickness or negativity. With negativity or sickness, the aura may show a darker or uneven coloration. Often in the beginning of this practice, you may notice the aura forms as a 2 to 3 inch shadow around a person. In the beginning, specific colors may not appear. Instead, the shadow may show as pale blue-gray. The aura may appear as deep blue, reds, yellows, or lavender, or a deep purple, depending on a person's health or spiritual advancement. During these viewing practices, information will often come as an auditory projection, which may answer questions, or visuals, which reveal brilliant colors that indicate health and balance. Make sure that you hold a direct focus upon what is before you. You might experience specific sensations in your own body that you must discern the meaning of. Be alert to any resistance or doubt that crop up in relation to what you're sensing or viewing. The ego will often dispel psychic truth, blocking those who are new to this type of psychic work. Never force or think what you believe should be. To develop the psychic self, one needs to practice being centered and aligned with the divine flow, to be balanced and open to all possibilities, void of ego, making sure to use the tools of discernment. Therefore, it is essential to practice daily so that you become adept at realizing what being centered feels like. Being centered is a distinct feeling where one's focus and energy is held within one's center, or hara, not within the mind or the ego, but a calm, still place within ourselves, characterized as inner peace, without any outside interference. It is a place that allows us the ability to align with a divine flow, and to open ourselves to receive through clear audio, visionary and sensory perception. Unconscious thoughts and ego's personal agenda may be hidden, yet can often get in the way of our success in achieving clarity or spiritual guidance, or may even disrupt our receiving healing energies. Take notes and discuss and explore all possibilities of what you have felt and received with those whom you are practicing. Clearing negativity. Negativity appears in many forms, some more powerful in its intrusions upon our person, often experienced as a distinct physical sensation of feeling uncomfortable, out of sorts, or unease. There are entities whose essential nature is disharmonious, who create havoc and imbalance in the environmental and severe physical and psychological maladies in humans. Negativity is that part of creation known as the dark force, and in constant battle with the light, and as part of the divine plan, challenges humanity to choose either the dark or the light. If you are adept physically, your heightened awareness will alert you to the threat of negativity. We are all vulnerable and susceptible to negativity, whether we're aware of it or not. We might contemplate how negative entities, in order to be sustained, need fuel, and of their having an insatiable hunger to be fed that which keeps them alive and allows them to grow. Similarly, the light, in order to be sustained, needs also to be fueled, but with that which is opposite of what the dark needs. Humans are responsible for sustaining a harmonious and peaceful world. For centuries, shamans and holy people used sacred tools to dispel negativity. Daily prayer, ritual, and ceremony, burning sage and sweetgrass, and aligning with those beings of the sacred realm are sacred tools we ourselves can use to empower ourselves, to be alert, so negative entities whose purpose is to affect the mind, body, and spirit of humans, and who use our own negative emotions as food. It is necessary that we take responsibility through the choices we make in order to create our own world as one of harmony and peace. During a psychic viewing class, I had placed a woman against the aura wall and dimmed the lights. After a few moments of observing her, I became aware of a negative entity that appeared as a skeleton superimposed upon her. Other members of the circle had noticed this as well, and became concerned. I made an attempt to approach her to remove the entity, and immediately I felt a force that physically repelled me, and the clear message, "Don't touch her, she's mine." I was familiar with the history of this one young woman, who had earlier informed me that her grandmother had been a witch, practicing the dark arts. The young woman had explained that upon her grandmother's death, she had continued to feel her presence. She described how she had often felt drained and experienced negative and disturbing dreams, where her grandmother's presence would overwhelm her. She explained the strange phenomena of water under her bed and throughout the house, where water would not ordinarily be found. She also mentioned that her dog would often act strange, growling at nothing in particular. I realized that I would need some assistance in order to release the negative entity attached to her. It was also important that the young woman become empowered and participate in specific ceremonies to effect the removal of the dark entity. I relayed this to her and described a ceremony needed and assured her of our success in releasing her grandmother's spirit. After performing the ceremony of release, later during that night I was visited by a frightening entity. As I lay sleeping, I felt someone grab my foot. I struggled to wake up against what seemed to be holding me in a hypnotic spell. Realizing what was happening, upon seeing the entity at the foot of my bed, I immediately called upon the Archangel Gabriel, who had for several months frequented our circle. I saw a large white figure appear, which covered me with its wing. In that instant, the dark entity disappeared, and I was never bothered again, nor was the young woman. Strong faith in the power of the divine light, having a powerful intention, knowing without doubt, in that crucial moment, that I would succeed in getting the help I needed, was relevant to success in eliminating this entity. Clairaudio. Clairaudio is the ability to hear the voice of spirit outside of one's physical self, or sounds of elemental spirits, or sounds that appear in patterns, or in groups of sounds such as music. The music one might hear appears as celestial, is pleasing and magical, and is often referred to as fairy music, or one hears clearly and distinctly a spirit speaking. To develop clairaudio, learn to pay attention to communication from animals or birds, other than their usual sounds. Refer to it in Mending the Hoop, first chapter. Often spirit will create a high-pitched sound in our ear, or a continuing hum. These are attempts to break through our increasing ability to hear clearly and distinctly. We might think of how these spirits who are attempting to make contact are restructuring or realigning us. We must practice opening and to be willing to explore that which is beyond what we think we might be hearing. Spirits attempting to contact us is experienced through energetic vibrations. Here is where we often experience the supernatural, where a distinct and clear sensation of a presence around us might be felt. Animals, birds, trees, everything has a living spirit and their own language. Yet sadly, we have not only lost the ability to hear, but we no longer trust our ability to communicate with them. This is due to societal and religious beliefs, where generations of fear and doubt have prompted a separation from and loss of spiritual communication. Also, the ever-increasing noise of traffic, overflights and machines such as lawn mowers, leaf blowers, and the like have filled the stillness and once silent environment. Recently, ornithologists have noticed how birds during mating season have had to increase their calls in order to be heard above the din of noise humans are creating. To renew your connection, spend time in nature. Practice being present with the spiritual realm. Learn to quiet your mind and observe. Listen and be open to all possibilities. When spirit attempts contact through vibrations of a higher frequency, either audio or sensory, it is important to take notice. Stop what you're doing and listen. Open all of your sensing abilities. You can, at this point, ask your guides what it is they're wishing to communicate. Also, recall any significant thoughts or feelings that occurred prior to you receiving signals. These could be clues that can help you discern why the spirits are attempting to contact you. During a trip to a remote village in Mexico, I experienced what I believe to be was the music of the fairies. I spent a few days near an ancient site, high in the mountains near Casa Grande, in a little house with no electricity or running water. The people of the village were farmers who lived simply, with no paved roads or comforts of civilization. The house and the bedroom I slept in were dark and still. Sometime during the night I was awakened. I felt a presence and sat up, placing my feet upon the dirt floor that over the years had been pounded to a smooth surface. It was then that I heard all about me, the sweetest sounds, which, for lack of a better word, I can only describe as music. But music of a kind not of this world, but of the celestial realm. Then all was still again, the night and sleep once again closing in upon me. Clairvoyance. A clairvoyant has the gifts of telepathy, intuitiveness, and psychic abilities. They often have the gift of second sight, and may even be considered a mystic or seer. Each of these psychic gifts, when developed, connects us to our inner receptor and those of a higher realm. Often, one might have the experience of receiving psychic information as though watching a movie screen, or listening to a radio that suddenly clicks on and feeds us information. This also relates to a distinct feeling that overcomes you, or you might receive specific guidance or information that suddenly appears, which you must then discern. At this point it is important to make sure that information is not a personal thought or your ego. To practice, sit across from a person and close your eyes. Have them ask a question that they need specific guidance with, and pay attention to your inner vision, or any thoughts that come swiftly without your prompting. This is a practice where you do not think of answers, but instead is a feeling response, based entirely on one's awareness of energy, and how we experience psychic energy, which comes to us from a higher source. This is crucial to understanding what exactly the process of opening to received channeled information actually requires. To develop your psychic abilities, practice sitting in nature. Close your eyes and take several deep, relaxing breaths. becoming alert to the sounds around you. This practice will align you with the spirit of a place or object, such as a tree, stone, or plant. Learn to expand your sensory perception by moving through doubt and beyond rigid boundaries and beliefs that generations of brainwashing have created. These are limitations which limit one's ability to experience spiritual contact. First, focus specifically on a distant sound such as the wind in the trees or a bird call. Do not allow other sounds to intrude. After a period of time, when you feel you've gained the ability to hold your focus, switch your attention again, attuning your whole being to a new sound. Hold your awareness and observe each individual sound. Make note of any physical shift or feelings or thoughts received, but allow these to drift through without interruption. As you enter into deeper levels of awareness, you become opened to expand your psychic abilities. Achieving the state of oneness. The state of becoming one with brings us to a place of inner peace, of empowerment, and the realization of a sacred being described as the One. The first step is to hold a focus without being interrupted by outside interference. Becoming centered and opening yourself to spiritual channeling, you can then ask for guidance from a spiritual source. Make a prayerful statement that you wish to open and receive only that which is for the highest good. It is important to use the tool of discernment to understand the difference between being subjected to the ego's agenda, as opposed to what it feels to be centered, which allows one to receive clear, channeled guidance. Be aware of what mode your body takes on when experiencing spiritual guidance. For instance, I felt this strong urge to go there, yet I chose not to, and later I realized that if I'd listened, it would have been to my benefit, or I had this strong gut feeling. These experiences are premonitions, clairvoyant connection, where a guiding voice had been trying to help you, and instead you may have chosen to ignore the signal, later realizing your mistake. It is important to take a moment and recall particular feelings during a time of spiritual contact. How did your body feel when receiving psychic information? In what manner was contact experienced? Several weeks prior to 9/11, I had become aware of an overwhelming feeling, a heightened sensation, which I experienced as a great heaviness and foreboding, which brought with it a distinct knowing of something about to happen. Although at the time I had not received an exact image, still, the physical sensation was so burdensome that I became greatly concerned, anticipating that what was to come would be something monumental. After 9/11, there were others who expressed their having received information through various psychic methods of a pending disaster. To successfully channel spirit, one must practice shifting themselves away from the awareness of the physical self and enter a silent place, devoid and detached from the ego or human earthbound awareness. This is a state which allows one to extend the web or filament of finely tuned threads of the audio, visionary, and sensory abilities. Channeling is learning the art of advancing these sensory tools beyond our physical boundaries in order to develop the psychic arts. Patience is essential, as is being alert and opening to all possibilities. In today's world, we are inundated with noise, overwhelmed with fear and chaos, and surrounded by negativity and a constant quest and pressure to better our lives according to society's rules. This creates worry mud and blocks our natural ability to receive spiritual guidance. Spirit's guidance is often experienced as a faint drift of information that passes through our minds and, as we are continually distracted, is immediately forgotten. Children are born with gifts of clairvoyance, and due to their not yet being inundated with life's pressures prevalent in the adult world, they are more attuned to the mystical realm. Over time, as they step into the adult world of technology and take on more responsibility and worries, they lose their psychic ability, which then blocks the natural flow of spiritual guidance. It is also important to remove ourselves from our busy lives and spend quiet time communing with nature in order to renew and reconnect with our natural psychic gifts. Spending time in nature helps form a healthy body, mind, and spiritual self, and opens us to the possibility of psychic communication and receiving spiritual guidance. Compared to the times when spiritual viewing was normal and an accepted part of life, where with little effort one would open to receive guidance in alignment with divine knowledge, today's world is chaotic and distracting. Spirit will continue to reach out to us, yet we may continue to ignore the signals. Receivers and senders. Psychic phenomenon and extrasensory abilities appear in many forms. Therefore, some of us may be receivers of psychic information, while others may be senders. A receiver is one who receives psychic information from outside sources. The outside source could be one's own guides, or one could receive information pertaining to future disasters that are broadcast upon the ethers. As well, we each have an innate inner guiding voice, which is known to be the wise one within us that is capable of understanding and of knowing the proper course and action to take. Some refer to this inner guide as the intuitive self. Not everyone is chosen to be a receiver of information, which reveals a pending disaster. Often this type of clairvoyance can be worrisome and a burden. Using prayer is essential, not only for the pending situation, but for the receiver as well. In all actuality, often there is nothing we can do upon receiving premonitions of pending disaster. Yet it is helpful to understand and trust in the power of free will, and also the power of prayer. Often a person is both a receiver and a sender of psychic energy, and it is important to understand boundaries. One must be alert to the power of thought, emotions, words, and our behavior, and to seek truth in all matters. Receiving spiritual guidance is powerful. Yet how we determine to use such information will indirectly affect others. Therefore, the use of discretion in disclosing specific information received is vital. It is also important to use discretion when sending energy in any form for any purpose. We must be responsible in how we use our psychic gifts. Feelings of foreboding or a nagging sense of something about to happen, can indicate a pending disaster in another part of the world, such as a tsunami or earthquake. We have all read of the ability of animals that are sensitive to earthquakes, how they become actively alarmed long before the tsunami strikes. In China, scientists are using earthworms to study their ability to sense earthquakes. When one receives a subtle warning as a psychic message, it has often been proved to their advantage if they seriously regard these early warnings and become alert to possible danger ahead. Recently, a woman was driving her car in heavy traffic when she felt a strong message that alerted her to a pending accident. After receiving this message, she became more alert, slowing her car and keeping a good distance from the driver in front of her. Although anxious, she continued on, and soon passed a car accident on the side of the road. She felt strongly that this was not the accident she had been alerted to. In fact, further on, the car in front of her slammed into the car ahead, nearly causing a 3-car pileup. Due to her ability to listen to inner guidance, she was able to avoid the accident. Often we are unaware that we are sending messages to others. Yet a person whose intention is to affect or reach someone by using their psychic energies is strong enough to directly affect others. Information can be sent intentionally or indirectly. For instance, you might often hear from friends who exclaim how they powerful thoughts of you. Unknown to them, you had consciously sent them a specific message, or your own thoughts regarding them had in fact been strongly felt. Animals are also sensitive to human energies. Specifically, they're capable of discerning threatening situations in relation to their owner's safety. When approached, an animal is sensitive to whether or not a human is a threat. As an example of this, in a nearby spiritual community, where many visitors come to learn how to live a more spiritually conscious life, the local wild creatures wander amongst the people unafraid. We can use our psychic ability to commune with creatures and to receive communications from them as well. The practice of telepathic long-distance healing. Telepathy is a practice of using one's extrasensory psychic abilities to communicate with others. Using telepathy to achieve long-distance healing, it is important to begin by asking permission, and, if possible, to alert the person that you wish to send healing energy to. Respecting another's space and free will is important. Although there may be times when personal contact is not possible, one must acknowledge and proceed with their intention to send energy by realizing that healing occurs according to the divine plan. It is not through our will that others experience healing, but the personal choice of those who are ill to either receive or not. The psychic healer can and has the ability to activate healing through proper channels by aligning themselves with a higher source, knowing that all things occur according to the divine plan. Holding oneself in trust and faith as a conduit for healing energy, and having the power to hold a clear intention of what is to be achieved, as well as letting go of one personal need and final results, is crucial. To create an atmosphere for healing, one can light a candle or sage or sweetgrass. Through communication and prayer, state clearly your intention requesting to become a clear vessel of divine healing energy, which is to be experienced by the subject according to the divine plan. As you close your eyes, visualize the person in the field or space held before you. Continue by placing yourself in a relaxed position and begin the deep breathing method that helps you to center yourself. With each inhalation, draw down the loving light from the divine source into your crown chakra and visualize yourself completely filled with this light. Upon completion, use the next 4 breaths to begin to draw the light into your heart, until that also is completely filled. When exhaling, be sure to contain the light within the heart, allowing it to expand. Upon completing the 4th inhalation, and after fully capturing the healing light within your heart, with each ensuing breath, and each time you exhale, envision the healing light from your heart as a powerful flow directed toward the person that you're working with. Lastly, visualize them accepting and completely surrounded by and filled with loving light. If you sense resistance, view the energy around them. Make sure to notice if there are any heavy or dark places within their body, or that surround them, and that act as a block to their receiving. If so, immediately begin again, repeating the method described above. With this new attempt, create your intention as sending an even more powerful healing light, specifically placing your focus on those areas of resistance. When using psychic tools to see or sense a person, if they are in harmony, one would sense a serene, even flow of balanced energy and a clear light that surrounds them. If you observe something else, this could mean there's a disruptive, negative energy, or perhaps a sign of illness, indicating that the person is experiencing emotional or physical difficulties. Upon realizing something's out of balance, it's important to question a higher source and open to spiritual guidance, asking for help to discern what the issue might be. I had experienced some difficulty in a specific area while using a visualization method to clear the earth of negativity. I psychically saw an area where the energy seemed darker, much heavier, and more resistant. I determined to envision a giant net surrounding this and shifting through the earth to lift away any negativity. I saw that it was becoming increasingly difficult to completely pull the net through the resistance, when suddenly an angel appeared. She began helping to lift the now overburdened net that contained a great darkness, and together we completed the task. Afterward, during an open discussion, others who were present and taking part in healing the earth also expressed their awareness of certain areas that they had realized as being more resistant. We can use long-distance healing for individual problems or to clear parts of the earth. Write about your experience of long-distance healing. Alrighty, guys. I think I'm going to stop there. Looks like a good place to stop. And next time, I'll pick up where I left off at manifesting and luring. All that we seek is seeking us. Thanks for listening. See y'all later.